You think farm suppers in the 1970s were just beans, cornbread, and whatever's in the garden? Nah. Out in the country, folks were throwing down meals that were wild, resourceful, and low-key genius. Stuff your grandma still remembers, but nobody talks about anymore. And the craziest part? Some of these dishes were straight-up legends, until they just vanished. Number 1. Country ham and red-eye gravy. Country ham and red-eye gravy were farm food with attitude. That ham wasn't deli meat. It was salt-cured, smoked, and so strong it could wake you up from across the kitchen. Folks would fry a thick slice in a cast-iron skillet till the edges got crispy like meat candy. Then they'd do the magic move. Pour black coffee right into the hot drippings. Yeah, coffee. It would sizzle like a fireworks show, scraping up all those salty browned bits and turning into a thin, dark gravy with a shiny red eye floating on top. Then you'd pour that over biscuits or soak it up with bread as if it were liquid gold. Bitter, salty, smoky. This meal didn't play nice. It fueled a whole day of farm work and tasted like the 70s in one bite. Number 2. Souse meat. Souse meat was farm cooking at its most hardcore. This was the definition of wasting nothing. After hog killing time, when the good cuts were already spoken for, what was left was the head, the feet, the tongue, and all the parts most folks today wouldn't even look at. Farm families took that pile of odds and ends and turned it into something unforgettable. Everything was added to a large pot with vinegar, salt, and pickling spices, then boiled for hours until the meat fell off the bone and the broth thickened into a jelly-like consistency. The meat got chopped fine, mixed back into that tangy liquid, and poured into pans to set up overnight. By morning, you had solid slabs you could slice cold, fry crispy, or eat straight on crackers. Sharp, salty, and punchy enough to wake you up faster than coffee. Number 3. Groundhog, Woodchuck. Groundhog wasn't a joke meal on the farm. It was a seasonal prize. Late winter was prime time, right before spring, when groundhogs came out of hibernation fat, tender, and loaded with clean, wild flavor. Farmers trapped them in February, and nobody wasted the meat. This was free protein when stores were far and money was tight. First, the meat got parboiled to pull out excess fat, then slow cooked in a Dutch oven with potatoes, onions, carrots, and whatever root veggies survived the cellar. After hours on the stove, the meat turned dark and rich, tasting like a cross between pork and dark meat chicken, but earthier. The fat soaked into the vegetables, making everything taste deep and woodsy. City folks laughed, but farm families knew better. Groundhog ate better than store-bought meat, and it showed on the plate. Number 4. Persimmon Pudding. Persimmon pudding was farm country dessert royalty, but only if you knew the rules. You didn't touch persimmons until after the first hard frost. Otherwise, they'd pucker your mouth like you'd licked a battery. Once frost sweetened, those little orange fruits were pure gold. Families gathered them by the bucket, squeezed the pulp through cloth, and tossed the bitter skins and seeds without mercy. That thick pulp went into a batter with eggs, buttermilk, flour, sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg, then baked slowly in a pan till the top turned dark and almost burnt. Inside stayed dense, soft, and custardy, somewhere between cake and pudding. The flavor was wild and deep, sweet but earthy, with that unmistakable backwoods fruit funk. Served warm with cream, this wasn't just dessert. It was proof that you knew the land and how to work with it. Number 5. Chow, Pickled Relish. Chow was the farm pantry's secret weapon. When frost was coming and the garden was on borrowed time, nothing got wasted. Green tomatoes, cabbage, onions, peppers, whatever was left standing, got chopped up and thrown into a vinegar brine loaded with sugar, mustard seed, turmeric, and spice. Then it sat, soaking up attitude. This wasn't sweet pickle relish. This stuff had bite. Sharp, tangy, a little sweet, and loud enough to wake up the blandest plate of food. Folks piled it on beans, cornbread, fried potatoes, greens, honestly, sometimes straight from the jar. Every family swore theirs was best, and arguments over chow recipes could last generations. It turned boring winter suppers into something worth sitting down for, and that's why farm kitchens always had a jar ready. Number 6. Killed lettuce. Kilt lettuce. Killed lettuce sounded violent, and honestly the cooking method kinda was. This was farm folks' version of a hot salad, long before anyone put warm greens on a menu and charged extra. Fresh spring lettuce just pulled from the ground was torn up and tossed in a bowl. Then came the kill shot. Smoking hot bacon grease poured straight over the leaves. The lettuce wilted instantly, collapsing under the heat while apple cider vinegar hit the grease and sizzled like a warning. Toss in crumbled bacon, green onions, maybe a pinch of sugar if you like balance, and that was it. The greens turned silky, smoky, and tangy, halfway between salad and cooked greens. You ate it fast while it was still warm, sopping up the extra dressing with cornbread. It tasted like winter and spring shaking hands over supper. Number 7. Creasy greens. Upland cress. Creasy greens were springtime medicine straight from the creek banks. After months of heavy winter food, farm folks went hunting these peppery little greens like their bodies were begging for it, because they were. Creasy greens grew wild in wet fields and along streams, sharp-smelling and spicy like watercress with an attitude. The cooking was simple because the greens did all the work. They got rinsed, then dropped into a pot with a little fatback or bacon grease and boiled just long enough to wilt. Add salt, pepper, maybe a splash of vinegar, and you're done. The flavor was fresh, biting, and clean, cutting right through all that winter grease. The first pot of creasy greens meant winter was finally losing. On farms, that was something worth celebrating. Number 8. Fried corn. Fried corn was summer in a cast iron skillet, plain and simple. This wasn't corn on the cob, and it definitely wasn't that sad canned stuff. This was fresh corn, cut straight off the cob at peak sweetness, then scraped down hard to get every drop of that milky goodness. Farm cooks knew that corn milk was where the magic lived. All of it went into a hot skillet with bacon grease. And yeah, usually a little butter too, because why not? It was cooked low and slow, stirred constantly, until the natural sugars caramelized and stuck to the bottom, then got scraped back in. The result was creamy, crispy, sweet, and salty all at once. It tasted like sunshine, hard work, and late summer evenings. Modern creamed corn doesn't even come close. Number 9. Cornbread and Buttermilk. Cornbread and buttermilk looked like struggle food, but on the farm, it was pure comfort. Late at night, after a long day in the fields, folks didn't want anything heavy or fancy. They wanted something that worked. You took a chunk of skillet cornbread, the kind with a dark, crispy bottom, and crumbled it into a bowl. Then you poured cold buttermilk over it until everything floated. The cornbread soaked it up fast, turning soft in some spots while the crispy edges held on just long enough to fight back. The buttermilk was tangy, cool, and slightly sour, cutting through the corn's natural sweetness. You ate it with a spoon, slow and quiet. No talking, no rushing. It filled you up without weighing you down. Today, people chase fancy late-night snacks, but back then, this was the real deal. Number 10. Greasy beans. Greasy beans didn't sound fancy, and they weren't trying to be. These were green beans preserved the old-school way, packed raw into jars with nothing but salt and water, then left to ferment slowly in the cellar. No pressure canners, no shortcuts, just time doing its thing. By winter, those beans had turned olive green and funky in the best way. When it was time to eat, the beans got dumped into a pot with fatback or bacon and cooked low and slow for hours. The liquid turned smoky and rich, the beans soft and slick, almost silky. That's why they called them greasy. The flavor was salty, deep, and loud, nothing like fresh green beans. You sopped up the pot liquor with cornbread and called it supper. It wasn't pretty, but it was powerful, and it carried farm families straight through winter. And just like that, those old farm suppers fade back into history. If one of these took you straight back to your grandma's table, drop it in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and we'll keep digging up the meals time tried to forget.